Hello, welcome to the C.H.A.B.I.S YouTube channel. This is just a little rant about what agile software development may end up with if you're not careful. It's a hypothetical story with some mixed experiences I already had and collected during the last 20 years and also as a user of many software systems, administrator of different software systems and so on. So, but mostly hypothetical. Let's assume you have a software agile development, DevOps in place, and you do it quite well. So your operations talk to your developers, they do their stuff, they define something which might make sense, they develop it, they put it on the testing devices on the stage, it's tested, automatic testing in place, nothing found, put out into the wild. Let's assume it's kind of like a web interface or something, a web application running in the web browser of the client on the client system and so on. Well, then you do it, let's say 5 times a week, so every workday you put some new stuff up. This is absolutely possible and it's done. You have a number of microservices, which means isolated parts of your software talking to each other with defined interfaces you don't change. So you feel quite happy. Now, let's assume your staging system is in a good shape after all. So it's a generally stable operating system and so on, a variety of operating systems. But now you let it into the wild. The first thing is the customer either has everything automatically, so he has no clue what release and update version and whatever he has, he does not even notice he got an update, which is probably the better case, because otherwise he would have to accept to update the software each day. Or if in case of a web application he either gets notified each day he got an update, which he probably does not want, or she or it, or it's not about discriminating minorities, it's just about keeping things slightly simple. At least customer user in this scenario has got a web interface, so he will not notice he got an update, because if he would get a notification each day he would panic, and so he only notices if you change the user interface, and let's assume you didn't. But you use the user's web browser, which may be different flavors, different products, it's a wide variety. They all organize things a bit different. The interpretation of the W3C standards are different. The Java engine or whatever you use may vary, and you could not test everything. And let's just take a step back and look at the usual system of a customer in the wild. And I include my own systems. I am not better than everybody else. I may even be worse because I tried too many things out. So every operating system today is made of tens of thousands of components. Be it Linux, Windows, Mac OS, or Android or iOS. I guess Symbian is not really BlackBerry OS, Windows Mobile, whatever. It's made of tens of thousands of components. And you normally have a couple of components which are broken. You can't really avoid that. And in normal daily use, you simply wouldn't notice because you don't use the component, or the component is partly working, or it produces so minor bugs that you never bothered looking into it. And in this, on top of this operating system, you place a web browser. As I said, 3, 4, 5 different products, a Chromium based, something Safari, and even if you have something which is just Chromium based and Google Chrome, it's already different stuff. And Microsoft Edge, Microsoft Internet Explorer, everything. And they are not on the same release on every computer. Even if automatic updating is installed and so on, it comes on different times. You can't update all Mozilla Firefoxes in the same second everywhere in the world, because that would kill every update server immediately. Same for Windows updates, for whatever. So release is not defined. The versions of all the tens of thousands components, applications, apps, etc. is never the same, nowhere. So you may end up with countless small bugs you could not test in your staging system. And normally, if you cater to private people, they come home in the evening, they want to surf around, check something, use your web application among others, and it's late in the evening and they have no real clue, they don't know they got an update, they don't have the time to check everything, and even if they did, they could not help, it wouldn't help them anyway. And then your web application is, in this specific user's case, using a component now. It did not use it yesterday, the last version did not use it, this version is using it, and it's one of those broken components. Yeah, that's it. And if this happens, it can happen every day, it can even happen to the same user every day. Sure, it's a matter of probability and whatever, but it's absolutely in the bandwidth of every probability calculation that the same event happens every day for 10 weeks in a row. Its probability does not change. If it happened yesterday, it does not mean it can't happen today again. Those are isolated events, so mathematics tells you probability is 1 to 2 million today. Tomorrow it's once again 1 to 2 million, and next day it's again 1 to 2 million. So the same person can experience such problems, crashes every day you put up an update for a week. And he always has to call you at 9 p.m., get through to your support, which is probably on another continent. And this person does not know what the customer has on his system, does not know what's broken, does not even know how many components and which components are used by your newest release, because it's very unlikely you have so many developers spread across the whole planet that you can have a 24/7 support system only done by those developers who actively worked at this microservice, which really changed this time, and so on. So you end up in this, the problem we see every day. The customer, without any knowledge, it's a black box to him, and it can't be anything but a black box, calls a supporter, which also more or less has a black box there, and somehow problems can be fixed if they are common problems, and if they are not common problems, it's most of the time easier to just kill or uninstall everything which could be remotely connected to the system, and reinstall everything, and hoping that you somehow fixed that one single component which was broken before in the process. And if you tell your customer the third or fourth time in the same week or same 10 days to basically dismantle his whole computer and rebuild it from scratch, yeah, does not work too well. But after all, you did not do anything wrong. You had a working staging as much as you could possibly do. You have a perfect contact, or the best contact possible, between your operations and your developers. You have a 24/7 call center, you have operators, you told them everything you could possibly tell them before their head explodes too. Just the result does not work out. Nobody did something wrong. The user also did not do anything wrong, because you can't expect the user to keep tens of thousands individual tiny components he does not even know they exist up to date and in a running state. And you can't expect any operating system to do such extensive self-test every time you start it up, because it would take days to start up. So kind of every human being in the whole process did the best it could do. So nobody's to blame. Just the result does not really run. That's something the 21st century has to solve, maybe. So that was my tiny rant. I hope you could follow the story, and it was, as some YouTubers I watch regularly say, it was mildly entertaining. And if not, well, sorry about it. Bye.